Hi there, Becky here from 168 Fitness. So over the past few weeks, I've been giving you my top tips on how to achieve your fitness, weight loss, maybe health, energy goals as well before the end of the year, before Christmas as well. So this week, you may be in the full swing of these Christmas parties and maybe you've got a few more coming up. And I wanted to share my top tips on what foods to enjoy and which ones to avoid when you're at the Christmas party. For example, if you've got a buffet, what to enjoy and what to avoid. So you probably know this, but it's a bit of a reminder for you just to make you consciously aware of your choices, especially if you're trying to achieve your goals before the end of this year, and also just want to feel good and not be overdoing it on the indulgence this year, and not also too soon as well, because it's a long month when you've got lots of parties and gatherings and things, so you don't want to be undoing all your hard work in the year and then in just 1 month. So some things we'll start with avoid and then we'll finish with the good stuff. So avoiding maybe your sort of fried foods. If you've got sort of fried foods or anything in sort of batter or anything in breadcrumbs and things like that would be best to avoid, or anything in pastry, try and avoid that. You kind of do know it probably when you're looking at the food, you know it's probably the stuff you really want, but it's the stuff that perhaps your body doesn't particularly want that you're drawn to. So just try and avoid anything that's too greasy, and opt for things that are a bit lower fat, perhaps a bit more natural. So things like try and bulk up on maybe if there's some salad there, maybe some potatoes, rather than sort of chips or anything sort of pastry wise. Bread, not the worst thing, but it's probably not the best thing for you either. But some kind of lean meat as well, if there's chicken there, maybe that rather than sort of burgers or things like that. Maybe a little bit of cheese, but not too much of it. Saying all of this, anything you do have, if you have it in moderation, it's not going to be too much of a problem, but just trying to avoid on that buffet all of those things that perhaps are going to undo a little bit of your hard work. And then in terms of alcohol, then a good tip would be to sort of try and avoid the wine and the beer, because that's quite calorie laden. It's obviously enjoyable, but if you're trying to achieve your weight loss goals and maybe you've got a few parties that you're going to, if you're going to have a drink, then try not to overdo it with the calories as well as the alcohol itself. So I would recommend sort of like a clear spirit, like a gin and a tonic, slimline tonic perhaps. It's about 50 to 60 calories for a measured gin and tonic. So that would be a good way of cutting back on the calories, whereas sort of a glass of wine is maybe 100 to 150 calories, maybe a little bit more as well, depending on the size. So those would be my top tips for the Christmas parties. If you're having an actual sit-down meal, then I would say if you can just have 2 courses, then that would always be better, or even just the 1 course if you can. But if you are going sort of 3 courses or just the 2, then try and go for sort of leaner, maybe like a fish dish would always be good, rather than sort of heavy red meat and anything like, avoiding anything in pastry, or with the starters, perhaps go for some soup or something like that, just to fill you up a little bit more before the main meal, so that you don't overdo it on whatever's coming for main meal. And then also that might put you off for having the dessert as well. Obviously, I don't like food being wasted, but try and think of it that if you don't actually want it, just because you might have ordered it or it's been ordered for you, just because it's there doesn't mean you have to eat it. If you want to go without and you want to say no thank you, or if you feel like you're full and you wouldn't usually eat the extra course or the dessert or the whatever, the cheese course that's come in, then just go without, because you're either going to eat it and feel not so good and not achieve your goals, or you're going to say no thank you, and either way it's going to get gone. So that would be my top tips anyway. So if you've got any questions, please do contact me. I'll be back next week with some more top tips on how to achieve your goals.